السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين بارئ الخلائق أجمعين، والصلاة والسلام على خاتم الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا ونبينا ومولانا أبي القاسم محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. أما بعد فأوصيكم بتقوى الله، فإنه حبل متين وعروة وثقى. صلوات. اللهم صل على. Dear brothers and sisters in Iman, first of all I advise myself for taqwa, parhezgari and piety, and then I advise all of you for the same. We are almost in the end of this blessed month of Ramadan. It has been a wonderful experience for all of us. So we have been fasting, we have been praying, we have been doing du'as, we have been engaging in a'mal, in so many recommended acts of worship and service. It's an uplifting experience which we go through every year in the month of Ramadan. We can see the spirit around when we meet and greet and visit and get visited by the members of our community. We always see some difference. We always see that people are more spiritual, people are more careful, people are more kind, people are more into the ibadat and in the service of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we can see that and we can feel that, which is, alhamdulillah, a good sign that as a community we are blessed with such blessings. But every year we emphasize, and everyone who has the podium, who has the member, who has any position in community to speak with the masses or with the gatherings, we always emphasize that month of Ramadan is a month of training. It's a month of training. It's like a month-long camp. It's like a month-long course that which we go through. And the purpose is that as this month ends, we come out with a new kind of commitment, with more focus and with the higher spirit to continue what we have learned in this month and what we have adopted as some of the good practices. So the idea is not that we are bound and tied only for this 1 month we have to behave in this way, but as the month is over and we celebrate the Eid, we are off the hook. And now we can just go back to the square one and start doing again the same kind of things if, God forbid, we were used to do those. Or we should now relax and not recite Quran, for example, on daily basis as we were used to recite in the month of Ramadan. Or we shouldn't now care about praying on time with full attention, which we had started doing that in the month of Ramadan. Or keeping a little bit more control on our tongue, on our eyes, on our heart, on our mind, on our hands, on our feet, on our stomach. So these were some good things that which all of us we start doing, or we put those things in our daily practice in the month of Ramadan. But these are not only for the month of Ramadan. The only difference between the month of Ramadan and the other months is that in month of Ramadan, fasting every day is wajib. While after the month of Ramadan, fasting is not wajib on every day, for example, for anyone to fast. So that is the only difference. Other than that, everything is same. It's same God, same Quran, same deen, same madhab, same taqwa, and same halal and same haram. Doesn't change anything. It's just a booster. The month of Ramadan just boosts our spirit, strengthens our spirit, uplifts our spirit, and gives us a new energy and gives us a new kind of focus. But then we need to basically continue it. That is the test and that is the challenge. It is just like for Hajj, for example. Sometime when we plan to go for Hajj, a month ago, 2 months ago, people will start kind of making some difference in their personal conduct because they are going for Hajj. And they will be very practicing and very pious and very concerned and very understanding during those few days of Hajj. But when Hajj is over and when they come back, within days, within weeks, again back to the square one. While the purpose was that when we go for Hajj and we go through that experience, now when we come back, we should be different people. We should be now at a higher level. We should be now at a better level of practice. So sometime I think the concepts are not clear. From the childhood, when we were taught Islam, when we were taught some of the Islamic teachings, when we observed the practices around us, we saw the culture in family and in community. So we got some wrong messages, unfortunately. Our role models, most of the time in our common cultures, were not very right one and very good one. And again, they had also the same problem. They never had those very good role models. They struggled. And we saw those people that they would all of sudden, they would become very pious and very practicing in certain conditions. Just simple example, if you are, just for you to understand, if you look to any Pakistani TV show, for example, and you will see the lady sitting without hijab and with all sola singhar and with all that makeup, and meaning even you can not only see their hairs of their head, but you can see their neck and shoulder and their all, meaning they are wearing very revealing kind of dresses, and they are just sitting like that. And here the announcement is made that Naate Rasool Maqbool will be recited, and all of a sudden you will see them covering, and all of them, they will become Maryam Muqaddas. Just within a minute, because Naate Rasool Maqbool is being recited now. An announcer is saying that now brother Uwais is coming and he will recite the Naate Rasool Maqbool, or we will have a recitation of Quran, for example, and somebody is going to recite Quran. So the same ladies that who never bothered in all that program to putting that dupatta on their head and were sitting in a different mode, all of a sudden, Maryam Muqaddas. Just for 2 minutes. But this is why they do that, because they have always seen like that. They have always, from the childhood, they have seen in their family, in the community, in a school, at college, at university, at the TV shows, that when there is a tilawat of Quran, when there is a naat of Rasool Maqbool, then you have to cover your head. And you have to become very pious kind of person and have that. And here Naat Rasool Maqbool is gone and Noor Jahan is coming. So again, back to the same square one. These are actually why people do that. It is because they are not taught properly. They are not consistent in their practice. They don't know that the covering of the head was wajib from the beginning. When they were leaving their home, for example, they had to cover it from that point. Until they came here in the program, from beginning until end, whether they recite Naat Rasool Maqbool or they don't recite Naat Rasool Maqbool, whether they recite Quran or they don't recite Quran, they had to cover. It's not written anywhere that when Naat Rasool Maqbool is being recited, you have to cover. And when Naat is over, then the dupatta is also over. So, this is because of not having the proper education. It is because not having those role models that who could practice Islam properly, and not only by the letter of it, but by spirit of it. So that is the challenge which we are facing as Muslim Ummah. It's not only India, it's not only Pakistan, it is the same thing in many other cultures. You go in Malaysia, you go in Indonesia, you will see all these women just walking and in the markets and working at the offices without hijab, wearing all those kind of dresses. And here the time of Salat will come, and here when they will enter in the masjid, you cannot even distinguish that this is the same lady. This is the same person, because this is the time of Salat, so it is all Maryam Muqaddas. And then the Salat is over, and again the same mini skirt, and again the same dress, and without any covering of head, without any scarf, the lady is going back to the shop and going back to the what you call the office. This is something which comes from nowhere. These shortcuts are man-made, and sometimes they think that they are doing right. And then what happens? The little girl growing in that family, next to that mother or next to that sister, will take it as a accepted practice. Will take that as a something that this is how my mother was used to do, this is how my aunt was used to do, this is all the ladies in my family and in my community were used to do. So then the little girls will also adopt that role model. So what we need to do is we need to understand Quran, Hadith, Islamic laws. After all, Islam is a religion of laws. It's a religion of laws. It has wajib, it has haram, it has halal, it has makruh, it has mustahab, it has duties, it has responsibilities. Meaning we cannot run away from that. We cannot say, I'm going to be a Muslim, I am going to be a Muslim, but I'm not going to abide with the laws of Islam. We don't have that ability of picking and choosing. This is a whole package. If we are Muslim, then our beliefs have to be according to Islam, our practices have to be according to Islam, our values have to be according to Islam, our conduct has to be also according to Islam. There are no ifs and buts about that. So that is one thing that we need to keep in mind. As the month ends, month of Ramadan, our good practices should not stop. We should inshallah keep building upon it. We should keep the legacy of month of Ramadan, the barakat and blessings of month of Ramadan with us inshallah, and enter into Shawwal and Zikada, and then it should take us to the climax in the month of Dhul Hijjah, in the month of Hajj, and then Muharram. Again, we should keep going up and up and up, and we should not come down. Recite a salam. Today, as the last Friday of month of Ramadan, is declared as a day of Quds. This is a very special day when Muslim Ummah remembers the injustice done with the millions of our Muslim brothers and sisters in Palestine. It's now more than 70 years that international forums, international organizations such like UNO and many other international bodies failed to bring the justice to these people. They have been living in exile as refugees in so many other countries, scattered all around the world. And those who are living in their own land, they are living a miserable life. I'm sure that you have seen those footages in the news, and you have seen the stories in newspapers and journals. They live in a very miserable kind of life in Palestine. The government of Israel and its brutal agencies always go and kill innocent these Muslim youth of Palestinians. They have put so many embargoes against them, so many sanctions against them. There are so many limitations for them in their own land. It is not acceptable. It is something which is not justified by any means, by any standards. There are hundreds of resolutions approved by the General Assembly and international forums, but the government of Israel never abides with those resolutions. And this is, of course, because of the backing which goes from here. Our own country, our own government, our own Congress and Senate and all these agencies, they also come and stand on the side of Israel, and they either look on the other side and let Israel do whatever they want to do, or many times even they support whatever they are doing. All the sanctions and all the pressure is always applied on poor Palestinians. Whenever time comes, every time the pressure is applied on them. So this is the day to express our solidarity, basically, with Mazloom. And that is the core teaching of our deen. This is the core teaching. First of all, it is the core value of humanity. If it is really humanity, the human beings are supposed to be sensitive about injustice, discrimination, exploitation. Any human being, if he is a fair human being, should have that concern about Mazloom, about oppressed one, and against the oppression. But then in Islam also, we just a few days ago when we were talking about Amirul Mu'mineen, Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wasalam, and we were reviewing his wasiyat, which he made on deathbed. One sentence was, Kuna lidh-dhalimi khasman wa lil-madhlumi awna. Amirul Mu'mineen, while he is injured, he is on deathbed, he is making sure to remind and emphasize that you, my children, my family, my following, my followers, my community, make sure kuna lidh-dhalimi khasman, be an opponent to an oppressor, walil madhlumi auna, and be a help and a source of comfort and a source of help and solidarity for the oppressed one. So this is a core teaching of Islam. There are tons of ahadith from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. One of those ahadith which is very much quoted by Rasulullah, where man asbaha walam yahtamma bi umuril muslimin fahuwa laysa bi muslim. If someone gets up in the morning and starts a new day, but he is not concerned about the affairs and the conditions of other Muslims, he is not concerned, totally insensitive about what is happening with others, Prophet says, فَهُوَ لَيْسَ بِمُسْلِمٍ, he is not a true Muslim. Because if he was a true Muslim, then he would be concerned about everyone around him. And even according to some riwayat, we go that far that this is not only about Muslims, but actually this duty of a Muslim is toward entire humanity. Yes, we have duty toward Muslims at first stage and with a different degree, but then as a Muslims, we have to be sensitive to every being, not only every human being. Animal rights are also highly emphasized in Islam. There is a whole beautiful letter of Amir Mu'mineen in Nahjul Balagha, which he wrote to collector of zakat. Islamic government had those collectors that who were used to go and collect zakat. And zakat was normally meaning collected in the shape of animals from animals, and wheat, barley, and these what you call the produce of the agriculture produce. But the collectors of zakat would have so many cows and sheep and goats and all that. So Amirul Mu'mineen writes a letter to all those collectors of zakat, and he emphasizes the rights of those animals which now you have in your custody, and you are bringing them from different locations to a central location. And he says, make sure that their kids have the full access on their mothers when they are drinking the milk of their mothers. Don't separate those little kids from their mothers, or don't you take all the milk of those cows and goats and sheep and deprive those little kids and little babies of those animals. Then Imam says, when you are bringing these animals, make sure you bring them from the routes where they have opportunity to graze. There is grass available, there are vegetables available, so they can graze and they can drink the water. Offer them always, whenever with a routine, the water. Don't keep them thirsty, don't keep them hungry. Don't put too much burden on those camels. Divide the burden, whatever you are carrying, on all the animals, but don't push too much burden. Don't be too harsh with those animals. So these are the rights of even animals. And then we have examples that Amirul Mu'mineen, how when he saw a Jew being discriminated, when he saw a Christian being discriminated, or when he saw a member of minority who was being discriminated or subject of any injustice, Amirul Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wasalam stands up for them. So we should always keep that in mind, that we are not only advised that we have to fight for Muslims and we have to raise our voice for Muslims, and we are going to defend only Muslims. Of course, Muslims are member of our family. We are one ummah, al-Islamu ummatun wahida. They are member of our family. So we have to protect them. This is our duty and responsibility. But anyone, black or white, red or yellow, Muslim or non-Muslim, whether they are in Africa, whether they are in Asia, whether they are in our own country, United States of America. This issue of black lives, for example, this is a sensitive issue. And we need to raise our voice that yes, it is true that black lives matter. It has its own background, it has its own philosophy, and we stand with it. These people are being discriminated, they are being oppressed systemically. Even the governments, the presidents, the senators, congressmen, the rulers of the country are accepting that there is a systemic oppression going on, systemic discrimination going on. There is a systemic way of injustice. So we shouldn't shy from condemning the injustice. We shouldn't feel shy from standing with the oppressed one. So that is the spirit of Islam. These are the core teachings of Islam. And as a Muslim, we have the duty to express our solidarity with those brothers and sisters in Palestine. We have to promote their cause through peaceful means. We have to, if it was not the pandemic, we were used to gather in the city of Chicago for a protest, maybe inshallah in coming years. But the issue is that we need to highlight the issue, we need to speak about it, we need to stand with the oppressed one, we need to raise our voice, we need to let them know that sooner or later, this land of Palestine will come back to the true and the real owners of this land. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. اللهم صل على محمد. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله الذي لا إله إلا هو الحليم الكريم غافر الذنب وقابل التوب وهو الغفور الرحيم إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل وسلم على سيدنا ونبينا ومولانا أبي القاسم محمد وعلى أمير المؤمنين وإمام المتقين علي بن أبي طالب وعلى سيدة نساء العالمين فاطمة الزهراء وعلى الحسن والحسين سيدي شباب أهل الجنة وعلى علي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي. اللهم صل على مولانا صاحب العصر والزمان وعلى آبائه الكرام ما اتصل الليالي والأيام. أما بعد فقد قال الله تبارك وتعالى: توبوا إلى الله توبة نصوحا عسى ربكم أن يكفر عن سيئاتكم ويدخلكم جنات تجري من تحتها الأنهار. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمد